If your goal is to lose some weight, then cycling is a fantastic way to do it. There's some more good news, because if cycling is your end goal, losing weight whilst maintaining power will make you faster.
Yeah, so for example, a 75 kilogram rider cycling up a long hill would actually get to the top a minute quicker if they lost just 2 kilos in weight.
Yeah, and take that example to the extreme, and the differences are huge. So a 90 kilogram rider who manages to lose 10 kilos under those exact same conditions will save almost 5.5 minutes.
So what are the best ways to lose weight then? Well, coming up are 5 quick and easy tips that will help you do just that.
Years ago, we were all told that the best way to lose excess weight was to spend a lot of time in the so-called fat burning zone. The theory being that you burn a greater percentage of fat versus carbohydrates at a lower intensity than at a high intensity.
And that's fine if you've got all day, every day to train. But the fact is, most of us don't have that luxury. So if you're trying to train or in a full-time routine, then high intensity is where it's at.
Yeah, you're going to burn far more calories per hour on a really hard, intense ride than on a long jaunt in the saddle. At the end of the day, losing weight is all about burning more calories than you're consuming. Plus, there's the added benefit that you generally feel slightly less hungry after an intense ride than after a long, slow ride. So you're far less likely to overeat once you get through the door.
Now here at GCN, we've got quite a few short, intense sessions that you can do indoors. And if you incorporate 2 or 3 of those into your weekly training routine, you're definitely going to be on your way.
Drinking water is really good for you, and not only that, it can also act as a little bit of an appetite suppressant. And after you've had a fair bit, you won't feel quite so hungry. So here's a neat little trick for you. When you get in from your ride, drink a really big glass of water, maybe a pint or so, before you have your meal. Let it settle in your stomach, and that way when you do come to having your meal, you won't feel quite so hungry, and therefore you'll be a little less likely to overeat. And you can also use this trick before your main meals of the day, breakfast, lunch and dinner, and even before your mid-morning and mid-afternoon snack. Happy days. Cheers.
Tip number 3, eat little and often on rides of over 90 minutes in duration. Now it might sound a little bit counterintuitive to eat more than you normally do, especially when you're trying to lose weight, but just bear with us for a few moments and we'll explain.
Yeah, you see, there is a tendency when trying to lose weight to restrict the amount that you eat whilst doing exercise. But as we've already mentioned, that can lead to problems of overeating when you get home. So instead, if you eat little and often during your rides, you probably find that you're much less hungry when you walk through the door, and you're therefore less likely to binge eat. You got any spare?
Nah, it's all gone.
Right, this next one is related somewhat to point number 1, and that is high intensity. So even if you're not heading out necessarily planning on a full-blown interval session, you can still do yourself a hell of a lot of good by throwing in a couple of high intensity intervals right at the end of your ride.
That's right. Studies have shown that post-exercise oxygen consumption can actually help the burning of fat. So the best way to get into that state is to do some hard intensity efforts towards the end of a ride. And that way, your body will still be burning loads of calories even when you're sat on the sofa. How good is that?
Yeah, that's the best thing ever.
Our final tip is to make goals and to keep them written down along with a chart of your weight. Now, make sure that you keep your goals achievable, as there's nothing worse than setting goals that aren't attainable, and then write them down and keep them in the place that you're most likely to see them. Say for example, on the fridge door. And that way you're far more likely to stick to your plan.
Yeah, and as Matt said, you should also keep a regular track of your weight. Now there are plenty of people out there who suggest not weighing yourself on a daily basis, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. As long as you do it at the same time each and every day. There will be days, of course, when that number does go up ever so slightly, but if you keep some kind of graph of your weight, then what you should find over time, a number of months, is that the general trend of the line is going downwards towards your ultimate goal.
And now a tip on what not to do. Now this is something that many of us may have been advised to do or even seen other people do over the years, but primarily in France.
Anyway, wrapping up in extra layers of clothing so that you sweat more will produce instantaneous and potentially significant weight loss. However, it is all water, so as well as being potentially dangerous, as soon as you rehydrate properly, all of the weight will come back on.
Don't do it.
So there you have it. To try and lose weight, make sure you incorporate plenty of high intensity riding, drink water strategically, eat regularly on longer rides, throw in a couple of intervals at the end of your steady rides, make goals and write them down, and finally, don't overdress to try and lose weight. Quite simple, really.
Yeah, very simple. Now, we mentioned earlier about our indoor training videos. So if you click up there, then you get straight through to our playlist where we've got some great high intensity workouts. Or just down there, Matt and I made a video about bike weight and that's effect on your climbing performance. So some good science right down there.
And to subscribe to GCN, how about clicking on that rather gorgeous view? Oh, and don't forget to like our video, or this one in particular, and other ones as well.
In particular.
Yeah.